Hey everybody, this is Shawn Powell. I'm just making sure the audio is working here. If this little meter goes up, it lets me know it's working. Um, I want to talk about something y'all talking about reaching goals, right? Well, I'm gonna talk to you about the flip side of this, actually reaching your goal. Exactly how I felt and what happened in the process, right? Okay, I'm gonna go back to when I used to work in the restaurants. I've done this for a long time, and I remember that I finally got a raise at one time, and I was making $800 a week. Okay, now I know this is years ago, and this it don't sound like a whole lot. I understand that. You know what I'm saying? For a lot of people, they make more than 800. Some people don't. That's fine. But I was in a profession for a long time. I should have been making pretty good money. But I also got bonuses as well. So really, I've been probably over 800 for a while. But something about that raise at $800, I was like, wow, this is really going to help me. I think we wound up losing a couple of assistant managers or something, and we were still putting the work in, and we were deciding on not possibly bringing them, new managers in, and just have, and we were going to get, paid a little extra for doing a little extra work. So anyhow, I remember when I reached $800, how I felt like I had made it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why I felt that way, but I do remember reaching $800 a week, and I barely ever had any bills. My house and things of that nature. My house payment won't but $275 a month. I made really good decisions in the past, but for some reason, that thought always stayed in my mind. Um, when I got in the online business, that my goal would be $800 a week. If I can just get to 800 a week. Well, the very first business I got into, I didn't even know I was doing good. To be honest, I figured there was a lot of people in the room that was doing well, but I was getting in Power system sales. I was getting in the uppers of 40 to 45 gold members a month, and to be honest, I was just doing what everybody else should have been doing. I thought they were doing the same thing, kind of thing. And then after about the first month, it showed the leaderboards. I was like, bam, I was starting to climb up there. And I was like, wow, this is pretty awesome. And the path I had taken for me was just applying action. And I was branding myself, but I didn't really know I was branding myself. I was just making videos. Sitting in front of my phone, a $4 stand I bought from eBay, sitting at my kitchen table, and I felt like I was going to jump out of my skin and tell people how much I believed in my business and how much I loved it. What it could do, the possibilities. I could see light at the end of my tunnel. You know what I'm saying? $800 a week ain't that far away. You know what I'm saying? I remember thinking that, and I fed off of that. Even though I was working so many hours, and a lot of my videos I had to do late at night, and I didn't have a laptop, y'all. I didn't have anything really to be doing videos in. I had an old gaming PC. I couldn't even record off of or anything. So everything I fell to was, fell back to my phone, but I was getting it done. And then when I got to the level of Facebook, things really, I mean, wow, it went to, I wouldn't say I went from first gear to second. I think I skipped about 3 gears and went to about fourth gear. And this bad boy was, it was chugging along. Went number one on the leaderboards. The money was really starting to get good. After about 6 months, to be honest, my job wanted me to start working over 70 hours a week. And I didn't need it. That morning that I came in, one of my other managers that worked with me, I was showing him how I was making $100 gold. I'm sorry, diamonds. I don't know if I ever showed him my gold members or anything like that. I don't think he really would be impressed with $20, with me telling him something like that. But these $100 were coming in all through lunch, all through day, all through, day after day after day. And I was like, he's like, so did you make any money today? And I was like, yeah, actually I have. And I showed him my phone how I'd made more money before I even got to work than I did at work. So it really, I felt like if I was doing this well, I felt like I had already put something together. I didn't know what I put together, but it worked. You know what I'm saying? People got a chance to relate to me on Facebook, observe the masses and do the opposite. Something I heard from Amway years and years ago, when I was 19 years old. I was 42 at that time. I'm 44 now. But it just clicked. I'm getting seen. I need to stand out. What better way of standing out than being sincere and posting pictures like this. I didn't really have, I did have income I could show, but this picture, y'all, changed everything. If you want to know why it means so much to me, sometimes I feel like God does something for you. And even at that time, I kind of knew it. I felt like I kind of knew it. I did a YouTube video. This is one of those for the very first business I was in, y'all. This is a while back, right? Um, I was sitting down, and Adam asked me could he be in the video, and I told him yes. And I let him sit right there on my lap, and I told people what I thought about my business. And I don't get a lot of pictures with me and Adam together because I'm always the one behind the camera. It's just me and Adam. And and something about it just felt really sweet. It almost felt like God had kind of brought him in there to do it. You know what I'm saying? To have this videos done with me. And here's the funny part, y'all. It was really funny. We enjoyed it. Here I am. I'm sitting here talking in front of Adam. Adam's in front of me. I couldn't see his mouth, right? Adam was opening his mouth, mimicking me the entire time. Y'all, I had no idea he was doing it. It was one of the funniest things I ever seen in my life. Me and Adam sit here and watch that other video, and he was so serious looking. And every time I opened my mouth, he would open his mouth and he mimicked me. I was like, "Are you?" I had tears coming to my eyes, mainly because I didn't know he'd done it, and I was just being pimped severely by my little boy sitting here at the table. So I was like, all right, you're gonna do this again now. So he thought it was funny. It was great. So the second video, he kept smiling because of the fact that we were still laughing over the last video where he had just done it, but it wound up just being a really sweet video with him sitting there. He wanted to be part of what I was doing, and we go to Myrtle Beach, y'all. I was still working at that time. I still had a job when we went to Myrtle Beach, and he would be talking to people at the pool about his daddy's online business, and he should really check it out and stuff like that. You should talk to my daddy about his business. He was selling my business for me. Of course, I wasn't even thinking nothing like that, but he was just such a big part, and wanted to be part of what I did, and there was no reason for him not to be, because he was the reason why I was looking at it in the first place. And to be honest, y'all, I've said this several times if you've ever heard any of my videos before, but I could not stand him taking field trips, and I wouldn't be able to go, not even an option to go. A lot of field trips were on Friday. No way of me getting out for that. Um, Events for school that I wouldn't be able to go to, things of that nature, and it really drove me to where I said, you know what, I'm not ever going to miss any field trips, and I'm gonna stay focused at this, and I'm gonna get that. And I know that sounds crazy, but it is what it is. That's what motivated me to want to get free from a job. And it's like I said before, my family got to the point. Now I love my family. It's nothing against them, but why even ask somebody after a decade of knowing they can't go? Why ask them to a family get together? I can't go. It's going to be a Saturday. Yeah, I know it is, and it's not going to work. It's just not going to work. And then I had kind of a set pattern between, Adam, he would stay with his mom on the days that I was working, these 14-hour days, and that was every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So almost half the week I lost, spending time with my little boy, spend the night with her, and so it motivated me. All right, let me just keep going. Okay. Well, y'all, I'm gonna tell you, all that sunk in somehow, and sincerity, and Adam sitting there, and I went back and watched the videos with my phone, and there were sweet pictures of him saying, waving at the end, telling what he thought about the business, and I took some screenshots of it, and I got on Facebook, and I was like, you know what? I don't see people doing this, but he's such a big part of why I do online business. He wants to be such a big part of this, that I would use this picture right here, and I would tell people I had a light at the end of my tunnel, how much it would mean to me, how much it mean to be free from a job and never have to miss any field trips with my little boy. I remember that being a big part. And y'all, I'm gonna tell you, my lead numbers went ridiculous. And I really thank God. I can tell you, this ad right here with this picture was the first big step of me getting free from a job. It really, really was. It was me figuring some things out. I wound up making $1,800 off of this same, ad I posted on Facebook in a very short period of time. And I learned to stand out, that I'm already getting seen. I learned that posting respectful things with sincerity are going to get you respectful people into your business. I learned all sorts of things. You learn so much when you're applying action, and you can blow past other people, even the gurus that you think are doing so great. You can learn so much more by just going out on your own, and it makes sense to you. And when you learn to make it work, it's working for you your way. You know what I'm saying? So I honestly tell you, being sincere, focusing the way of getting out to people, and just tell people what you think about a business you believe in. I say it until I'm blue in the face, but it's the answer. It's the answer. I'm telling you the answer I found from it. Is there other strategic, awesome ad kind of? Maybe so. But I can tell you this. There was 10,000 plus people in the business I was in at that time, and nobody was even coming close to what I was doing. So if there was something better than what I was doing with sincerity, it wasn't showing. I can tell you that. In second place, the guy was doing YouTube videos, and he was a lot like I was. He would just, as a matter of fact, his videos went long. They went too long. And I remember him doing a webinar one night, and he was like, you know what? YouTube tells me I'm supposed to make 4-minute videos. I don't care about that because I think that the people I'm looking for are going to be the ones listening to what I have to say. And if it's a 40-minute video, the ones that listen to the ends are probably the ones that need to hear it in the first place. Those are the ones I'm looking for. And I would have done that either way because I know that people need to hear what I got to say. You know what I'm saying? At times. And if it's not for them, it's like having an email list that somebody unsubscribes. That's great, y'all. I want all the unsubscribers to go because they're not the right ones in the first place. And that's fine. People relate to different people and look at it that way. You can't control what happens. What you can control is you getting out there. What you can control is telling people what you think. What you can get control is getting comfortable applying action that means something. You see what I'm saying? So anyhow, I got free from a job. I went into overdrive, to be honest, because I really felt like, oh God, I got to make sure that this is going to work. So the next month, might as well say I was working harder at home than I was in the restaurant. I put the hammer down, man. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, it was gone. I need to make sure that I made a right decision. But you know what? Here's another thing. Like I said, when God sit there and Adam sit there with me, we took this picture, and all that worked out for me, y'all. To me, I felt like God was playing a factor. When I quit my job, I should have been scared. I should have been thinking anything could fall apart. What am I doing, y'all? I might not be able to get back to my job if something happened. This is all I ever knew, is restaurants. And I'm telling y'all, what I learned was I never felt scared. I never felt scared because I felt like this is what God wanted me to do. I felt like this was the steps I was supposed to take. And sometimes God does things and you don't know it and you feel it later. And then sometimes he does things and you know when it's happening. That was one of them. That's when it felt right to me. It felt right. I knew I shouldn't be going back. So it's been a blessing, y'all. It's absolutely been a blessing the last 2 years, spending every day with my little boy. I'm gonna go get my little boy today. We're gonna go watch the Power Ranger movie when it comes out, and we're gonna be watching it for the very first episode of the very first showing. You know what I'm saying? For the very first day, and a lot of times there's not many people there at like 4 o'clock when they show this video. So it's really good. We've really got the whole place for ourselves to an exciting new movie that nobody's seen. You know what I'm saying? And we love that, y'all. And we'll go eat at Brooklyn Pizzeria, things of that nature. Don't mean to get sidetracked, y'all. I just want y'all to know how important finding something and staying focused is. If you really believe in that business, y'all, and if you're willing to spend thousands in paid advertising, hell, I hope that there's more to it than you just, the feeling that you got to believe in it. I don't spend money like that, to be honest. I hate to say it. I just never had to. This is my way of working it. Facebook, YouTube, it works for me. It's being sincere. No scripting anything. I don't care. I don't give a damn how long the video goes. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that's worked for me in the past. I'm not going to change it. Okay, now I'm change gears now. My refrigerator had always been the place where I would put my goals. And I had put a goal to beat someone that was number one on the leaderboard. So I reached that one. I blew past that one, as a matter of fact. So I felt really good about that. So I started putting my goals towards financial. And I remember there was a lady, she had made $7,000 in 1 month in Power Lead Systems. And I was like, oh my God, I can imagine making 7,000 in 1 month with online business. But how I had everything going, the ball was rolling. I needed to focus my goal at what I'm doing now. You see what I'm saying? So I really stayed focused consistently of getting out there and doing what I'm doing. I like this video, to be honest, right? So I put $7,000 on my refrigerator as being my goal to reach. Y'all, I can tell you, I hit it so quickly. I put my head down. I kept putting the work in, but I hit 7,000 so quickly. I didn't know exactly how much I made that month. I didn't want to look at that time, to be honest. I wound up making over $13,000 in the same month. That should have been probably the month I hit $7,000. And let me tell you the weird thing here, y'all. I was someone's talking about, I thought I'd made it when I made $800 a week or something. Raises were, whatever scraps, the extra they were giving me for doing a great job, being a public relations guy, getting awesome comments, stuff like that. I did my job. I did what I was supposed to do at work. But 7,000 plus in just one business and then hit 13,000, it scared me. It really did. I wouldn't call it scared. I don't know what you would call it. I was almost frightened to do anything because I was scared I'd mess it up. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't. I just hadn't registered that. I'd never done anything in my life to make that much money with what I was doing. I understood why it worked. I believed why it worked. I understood that it was the answer. Sincerity has always been the answer. But something stopped me. It scared me. I had to. I guess I had to take it in. You know what I'm saying? So ironically, I quit growing for a little while because I needed to take it in. I needed to get used to the fact that my actions and what I was doing was capable of making me income like that at that level. Okay, I would say for about 3 weeks or so, I was really trying to get used to it. And, matter of fact, the income was staying steady. I was still growing up, matter of fact. And I was like, wow, this is incredible. So I got used to it. I finally got used to it. And, I never had that problem anymore after that. Shortly after, I had made $20,000 in 7 days in a new business. And I wound up finishing up with $40,000 in the first 30 days. And you know what? It never hit me. It never felt like should stop. I was scared. Responsibility for this kind of income kind of thing, it wasn't there anymore. I'd overcome that. That's what I'm trying to say. But it was amazing how $7,000, and I still got that piece of paper on my refrigerator. I'm looking at it right now. Matter of fact, I've made new goals underneath it, but I didn't take that down because it reminds me of where I was in growth, how much I've grown and matured. You know what I'm saying? And I can go back and I look at my old videos right now, and there's a lot of things I could do differently. But I tell you what I do see. I see somebody that's on fire on the inside. I see somebody that I knew what God meant and was doing at that time, and I see it in the videos. You know what I'm saying? I see sincerity. I saw a guy sitting down telling you I didn't know how to edit videos, didn't know how to do anything. All I did is I just sit there and say who I was, what I'd found, what it would mean to me and my little boy, and then I show them the way in. That's all I did over and over again. And I'd never script the words. And it just came out like it did. So anyhow, I just want to let you know, on the backside of reaching goals, actually it kind of scared me, you know what I'm saying? When I got over that 10,000, because you have to believe and see that you can make that money. You've got to get to a point in your mind where you can accept that. And I know that sounds crazy, but I think you stay broke or you stay where you're at because you perceive yourself as making that much money. And even though I was putting the work in, and I know God had a lot to do with this, I still had to take it in and get used to that, the responsibility for that kind of income. Now, I already know when I jump into a business, I'm going to make it work. I already know it. I've got the keys. I know how to make things work like it, right? And it's applying action and learning as you go. You know what I'm saying? Having a game plan and knowing you're not going to quit. That's basically it. So anyhow, y'all, I will tell you, get out there, find a business you believe in. Stay focused, y'all. Get out to the people. Just don't just don't get caught up in how much money you're making, or how much money you're trying to make. Just make yourself a goal and put the work in. Put your head down and just keep getting out there. It's just a matter of time. If you stay focused at reaching your goals, the money's going to be there. You know what I'm saying? It's just going to come together in that same way. So in my opinion, making yourself goals is perfect, because if you don't have a goal in front of you, how would you know when you reach it? You know what I'm saying? It's hard to really tell how much you've matured and how much you're growing in your business if you don't have any real goals set in front of you. So anyhow, y'all, just want to let you know, Traffic Hurricane, absolutely incredible. The income's really starting to get up right now. I don't even know where I'm sitting at right now. I like to look at this because I'm a math guy. Let's see where I'm sitting at. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 824 times getting paid. And this is February the 11th. So that's about a month and 2 weeks, or a month and 1 week and some days or something. So I'm looking forward to this, to getting down, continue to double actually, and get to the point where I'm making, over 1,000 commissions a month. That's my next goal. So again, if I make my goal for something like this and I put the work in, it's going to happen. I already have. You can go back and look at my videos from where I was only at 400 times getting paid. Now I'm over 600 something times in a month. So it's getting better and better and better. My goal is to reach 1,000 commissions in a month, and I can see me doing that probably in the next month. Somewhere in the ballpark. So what I got to do? Keep my head down and just keep working. If you need anything, y'all, let me know. Sign up at Traffic Hurricane. It's a no-brainer. If you need power lead systems, jump in. Here's my my actual sales page for Traffic Hurricane. Sign up right here, or watch this entire video. And just like it says, y'all, watch video below. It covers everything. If you are not watching this video, you're more than likely going to screw up. Screwing up means that you are going to put in an email that you shouldn't, or you're going to wind up doing something that pays, and you're going to be waiting for them to get verification, things of that nature, when none of it's necessary. All you got to do is just go ahead and follow this video right here, and it will get you everything that you need to know. Okay? If you need anything, y'all, let me know. Be tickled to help you out. Appreciate it.